The most powerful prayer in this section of Scripture didn't make a sound. No raised hands. No words anyone could hear. Just a woman with her lips moving, and a priest standing nearby who thought she was drunk. He was wrong about her. And the church has been wrong about silent prayer ever since. Here's what most people miss. The Bible has a name for what she did that day. And once you see it, you'll never feel guilty about a silent prayer again. Her name was Hannah. She wanted a child more than anything. She'd been praying for years and getting nowhere. And on this particular day, in the temple, she finally prayed the prayer that broke through. She didn't shout it. She didn't cry it out. She prayed it in her head. Listen to how Scripture describes it. 1 Samuel 1, verse 13. Now Hannah, she spake in her heart. Only her lips moved, but her voice was not heard. Read that again. Scripture says she spoke, but no one could hear her. The Bible itself uses the word spake to describe a prayer that made no sound. God didn't downgrade what she did because it was silent. He called it speech. The prayer you whispered in your head last night when you couldn't sleep, the one in the bathroom stall before that meeting, the thought you sent up while you were driving and didn't even close your eyes. Scripture has a word for those. The word is spake. God heard every one. So here are 5 things that happen when you pray silently instead of out loud. And every one of them is in Scripture. Number 1. God hears it the same as if you shouted. Picture this. It's 3 in the morning. The baby finally went back down. You're rocking in the chair by the lamp, and you're praying, but you're praying in your head, because if you make a sound, she'll wake up and the whole night starts over. You think God is getting a quieter version of that prayer. He isn't. Psalm 139 verse 2 says, "Thou understandest my thought afar off." In other words, God doesn't need the sound waves. He's already inside the thought before it becomes a word. He understands it from a distance, before your mouth ever opens. That prayer in the dark nursery? He heard the whole thing before you finished forming it. The volume changed nothing. Number 2. Religion gets confused, but God doesn't. Watch what happened in the temple that day. Hannah is standing there with her lips moving and no sound coming out. And Eli, the priest, the professional, the man who's supposed to know prayer when he sees it, looks at her and says this. 1 Samuel 1, verse 14. "How long wilt thou be drunken? Put away thy wine from thee." Now, the priest accused her of being drunk. In the temple, mid-prayer, he misread her because her prayer didn't fit his template. She wasn't doing it the way he was used to, so he assumed something was wrong with her. If you've ever felt like your prayer life was wrong because it didn't look like everybody else's, you need to read that verse again. The professional misread her. God didn't. The temple official got it backwards. Heaven got it right. That's the pattern, and it's still the pattern. Number 3. You stop performing and start praying. Jesus said something in Matthew chapter 6, verse 5, that we don't talk about enough. They love to pray standing in the synagogues and in the corners of the streets, that they may be seen of men. He's describing prayer that has an audience, prayer with a performance attached, people who like to be watched while they pray, and he says that's not the kind of prayer he's after. Now think about silent prayer. Who's the audience? There isn't one. Nobody can hear it. Nobody knows it's happening. There's no one to perform for. No one to impress with the right words. No one watching you adjust your praying face for the 3rd time. It's just you and God. That's the closet Jesus was talking about. And here's the part most people miss. You can carry that closet anywhere. The car, the grocery line, the hospital waiting room. Anywhere your thoughts can go, prayer can go. Number 4. The honest prayer surfaces. 1 Samuel 1, verse 10 tells us what was actually happening inside Hannah while her lips were moving. "And she was in bitterness of soul, and prayed unto the Lord, and wept sore." She wasn't praying pretty. She was praying broken. Bitterness, tears, years of disappointment finally pouring out. And she did it without volume because some prayers are too honest to say out loud. The grief you can't put into a sentence. The doubt you'd never confess in small group. The anger at God you don't even know what to do with. Silent prayer is where those go. and God receives them as worship. If you've been praying that way for years and quietly wondered if it counts, you're not the first. Hannah did it before you. Scripture made sure her prayer got recorded so you'd know. Number 5. God answers it. This is the part the story is famous for, and it's still stunning every time. After Eli realizes what was actually happening, he changes his tone completely. 1 Samuel 1, verse 17. Go in peace, and the God of Israel grant thee thy petition that thou hast asked of him. And then 1 Samuel 1, verse 20. The Lord remembered her. A year later, Samuel was born. The same Samuel who would anoint Israel's first 2 kings. The same Samuel who would speak for God during one of the most pivotal stretches in the nation's history. One of the most consequential prophets in Scripture, born from a prayer that didn't make a sound. Stop measuring your prayers by their volume. Hannah's silent prayer changed a nation. The one you sent up this morning while you were brushing your teeth? God remembers that one too. Here's what Scripture is actually saying. You don't need volume. You don't need a posture. You don't need a single word anyone else could hear. You just need to mean it. The God who heard Hannah is the same God listening to the prayer running through your head right now, and He hasn't missed one yet. That guilt you've been carrying, the feeling that your prayer life isn't real because it's quiet, because it's in your head, because it doesn't look like the people praying out loud at the front of the room set it down. Scripture never put it on you. Religion did. So, here's what to do this week. Tonight, before you fall asleep, try this. Don't speak, don't kneel, don't move your hands. Just lie there and say one honest thing to God in your head. The thing you've been afraid to say out loud. The prayer you've been sitting on. Scripture calls that speech. God calls it prayer, and He's been waiting to hear it from you. Eli thought she was drunk. He was wrong. God doesn't need volume. He doesn't need an audience, and He's been listening to every silent word you've ever sent. If this video lifted a burden you've been carrying without knowing it, share it with someone who needs this kind of freedom. And if you want more Scripture-based truth that breaks religious myths and gets back to what the Bible actually says, click the like button and subscribe to Bible Unshaken. You don't need to be loud to be heard.